creeds, cultures, classes, identities, and orientations. And yes, all generations.
All Souls Tulsa and All Souls Everywhere members try to live out what we call love beyond belief.
Bring your whole self each week to our worship services, Humanist Hour, and programs for families and adults.
Empower your children with a religious education that helps them make their own decisions about what they believe.
Connect and learn from our community of diverse experiences, faith, and cultures.
Sing with others in one of our many choirs.
Explore your creativity and find healing in the chapter of your life that you're in right now.
At All Souls, our members care for each other through the highs and the lows of our lives.
Live out love beyond belief here in Tulsa, across our nation, and around the world.
Join us. Become a member of the All Souls family in our centennial year.
At All Souls, our members care for each other through the joys and the sorrows of life.
All Souls Tulsa and All Souls Everywhere.
Join today at allsoulschurch.org.
Morning, all souls, and welcome to one and to all. I'm Randy Lewis, your sabbatical minister, and I'm so excited to be with you in worship today. We have a wonderful service planned for you today. Joining me on the chancel today is our resident minister, Corey Lovell, and a very special guest minister, Reverend Tamara LeBach, whose message today is entitled, Respecting All of You. For those of you who may not know, Tamara was a former associate minister of this congregation for many years, alongside Reverend Marlin. Currently, Reverend LeBach is the executive director of Restorative Justice, RJIOK, an organization she founded which seeks to transform the retributive and inequitable culture of our state by reducing trauma, recidivism, and dehumanization through cultural competency training and restorative practices. RJIOK holds that restorative practices strengthen bonds between individuals and within communities. As humans, we are hardwired to connect. Just as we need food, shelter, and clothing, we also need strong and meaningful connections to thrive. Please join me in welcoming back to the chancel Reverend Tamara LeBach. Now gather your children, because we have a great story for all ages, The Two Wolves, from our worship associate Lee Rumley. And we're going to have some incredible music performed by the incomparable David Smith, Rick Fordner, Matt Edwards, and some original music from Reverend LeBach, along with supporting vocals from Alexis Lovell. Yes. Yes, Mrs. Lovell. Now, if this is your first time joining us at All Souls, please fill out the Connect card. That's this little card right here. This is found in the back of the pew in front of you. And when the offering plate comes around, drop it in the offering plate. And speaking of the offering, you don't have to wait until the offering plate comes around. You can give at any time during or after the service by texting Love BB to 73256. That's Love BB to 73256. For those of you online, please tell us about yourself in the chat, and one of our welcoming souls will connect with you and let you know a little bit more about us and the wonderful work that's taking place with the All Souls community. Please share this link, the link to this service, with someone you know, and like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Roku. Also, if you're joining us online, please drop your prayer requests and concerns into the chat. So in a few moments, we can drop a stone and hold space for you here in the sanctuary. Now, at this time, I invite you to take a moment to pass the peace. You can do this in the chat online while we here in the sanctuary stand and greet one another in peace and generosity. And please remain standing as Minister Corey Lovell comes with our invocation and covenant.
Lovely, lovely. It is so good to see everybody here on this, and also like the blessed rain that is here this morning. It makes me feel so happy. Both of those things, all of you and the rain. This is indeed a day that God has made. Let us then rejoice and be glad in it. Let us count our many blessings. Let us be grateful for the capacity to see, hear, feel, and understand. Let us be grateful for the incredible gift of life, and let us be especially grateful for the ties of love which bind us together, giving dignity, meaning, worth, and joy to all our days. Now, if you'll join me in our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Welcome to All Souls, where we love beyond belief.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land, by every
Our chalice is lit this morning by Catherine Mitchell, an artist, musician, and singer, an active All Souls member for many years.
May this flame spark the heart light that illuminates our faith and a brighter future. May we never be reduced to our worst day or our worst choice. May we be ever aware of the grace that our divine nature is capable of and bestow it upon ourselves and our fellows. May kindness and mercy follow us all of our days.
You guide me, always lead me. I shall not want for anything. Still waters, green pastures, I rest so much in beauty. Surely goodness and mercy should follow me all of my days. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of my days. Can you sing that with me? Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of my days. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of my days. One more time. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of my days. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of my days.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Lee Rumley, and I am the All Souls Worship Associate. And I'm going to share with you a story of the two wolves, which is an ancient tale that has been a part of the Native American tradition for generations. Although the origin of the story is unknown, historians typically attribute the tale to the Cherokee and the Lenape people. The tale of the two wolves. A young boy came to his grandfather filled with anger at another boy who had treated him unfairly. The old grandfather said to his grandson, "Let me tell you a story. I too at times have felt angry with people who treat others unfairly with no sorrow for what they do. Hate is like taking a poison and wishing your enemy is going to feel the pain. I have struggled with that feeling many times. It is as if there are two wolves inside of me. One wolf is good and does no harm. He lives in harmony with all those around him. He takes no offense when no offense was intended. He is love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, faith, and forgiveness. But the other wolf, he is anger, envy, greed, arrogance, guilt, resentment, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The littlest thing will sit him into a fit of temper. He fights anyone all the time for no reason. He is so full of rage that he can't think clearly. It's useless anger because his fury will change nothing. Sometimes it's hard to live with these two wolves inside me because both of the wolves try to dominate my spirit. The boy looked intently at his grandfather's eyes and asked, "Which wolf wins, grandfather?" The grandfather smiled and said, "The one I feed." Now, children, you will go with Miss Shannon and your friends for activities and discussion about the grandfather's wise words.
When we come together in care and concern for one another, in our ups and downs, when it's easy and joyful and when it's hard, then whenever we gather in that spirit of love, wherever we may be, it becomes holy ground. So let us feel that holy ground beneath our feet as we reach out our hearts to one another. Place a stone in the water for Mother Imogene White. She recently tested positive for COVID-19, and so we hold her in her healing and recovery. Place a stone in the water for every healthcare worker still tending to us after years, in different phases of this pandemic. We appreciate them. Place a stone in the water for all the teachers preparing to go back to school, getting their supplies, their lessons in order. We thank them so much for all they do. And I invite those of you here in the sanctuary to speak the names of those you wish to hold in care into this space. And I invite those who have lost a loved one in the last year, or for whom this is the closest Sunday to the anniversary of a loved one's death, to stand in their honor for a moment of silence. And as you remain standing, I invite Randy Lewis to offer us a prayer.
You have made, and we rejoice in it. We lift up the faces and names, the aspirations and concerns, the joys and sorrows of your people, praying for their healing, their wholeness, and their well-being. Oh God, teach us how to show respect to all, including ourselves. And when dissonance is both deep and wide, and our ability to connect seems out of balance, help us to rediscover balance in all things. And with balance, wisdom to know that we need each other. perhaps more than we've ever needed one another before. Help us to make sense of the complexities of our world. Show us how to surrender our whole selves to the ideals of righteousness, justice, and love, that we might know a peace that surpasses all understanding. Help us, oh God, to learn to trust beyond reason, to hope beyond despair, and to love beyond belief. And in doing so, we find joy beyond measure, unspeakable and full of glory. And finally, oh Lord, help us to learn patience in enduring hardships, patience, enduring injustice, patience, as we wait for our change to come, as we wait on you. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Sing it with me now. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
From the Psalms Project, which is what I did in 2018. I spent basically 25 weeks in a row writing an inclusive worship song a week for those 25 weeks. And then had the opportunity with my wife Bonnie, who plays percussion, and we were able to go in, and I did a workshop on diversity, equity, inclusion, and then I would preach on Sunday, and we would do music together. It was kind of like the two-woman show. But you all haven't had an opportunity to hear a lot of that, so I'm introducing it to you today, and I believe that there will be CDs. There are CDs, either in the
book table.
By the book
In the
table.
Alliance room, huh?
If you're interested in that later, so if this music speaks to you, feel free to support that.
I give my first breath to you. I turn my whole heart to you. As the day breaks, I lift up my soul to you. To you I pray. For you I wait. So show me your way. Slow down my pace when I am running a path on my own. Guide me in truth. Take all that I am. You make a way where there's no way. For you are way. I give my mistakes to you. I turn my eyes to you. As the night falls, I lift up my fears to you. To you I pray. For you I wait. Show me your way. Slow down my pace when I am running a path on my own. Guide me in truth. Take all that I am. You make a way where there's no way. For you I wait. As the day breaks, Lord, I'll wait for you. As my heart aches, oh, I'll wait for you. As the night falls, oh, I'll wait for you. To you I pray. For you I'll wait. So show me your way. Slow down my pace when I am running a path on my own. Guide me in truth. Take all that I am. You make a way where there's no way. To you I'll wait. To you I pray. For you I'll wait.
Thank you. That's the one that sounds the most country. I am so blessed to have David Smith and Rick Fortner actually playing live music. Okay, that's on the bucket list that I can just scratch off. I have a ton of other things on that list that I haven't done yet, just in case anybody's listening. But the album was a lot of fun, and David and Rick got to come out and do an a cappella song on there. They blessed me with that, so just so grateful, so grateful. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tamara LeBach. My pronouns are she, the she series, she, her, hers, or they. I prefer they, but I understand why what I look like might invoke a she from our cultural shaping, and understand the error is not to harm me, especially in this church, so no foul. But if you really want to respect me and my system, I am a they. And frankly, so are you. But we'll get to that in a minute. The most important thing about that is not whether or not you get it right, but whether or not you're interested in actually respecting my autonomy to define myself, which is the ultimate form of mutual respect in my very humble opinion. And since respect is our theme for this month, I thought I would begin right there. Now, I understand that if you've been tracking the Sundays of this month in person or online, you've heard from some amazing speakers on respect. And today, let me just start with this. You made it. The part of you that wanted to come to church today seems to have gotten its way, whether online or in person. If you didn't read the blurb for today, or you just don't remember, which I totally get, or if you just decided to come without even knowing what the heck you were getting into, good for you. I promise to be very kind as you tread this new neural path I'm going to take you along. Today, I'm going to be shedding some light on a construct that's been pathologized by some and demonized by others. It is the idea I've already leaned into a little bit of multiplicity of mind and the implications of that particular paradigm. It was alluded to so beautifully in the children's story this morning. And we seem to be stuck in that binary paradigm of which one we want to align with. But if we're rebelling against the bad one, trying to be good, we are actually just perpetuating that binary construct. We have to recognize that there are not just two wolves, we also have the one who feeds. Or I might even say, the one who leads. Now, this is an age-old argument that's been present since the birth of consciousness itself. Are human beings made up of a single, unified mono-mind, or are we in fact made up of a multiplicity of selves? How can we escape the binary construct of the one versus the many with regards to consciousness? And why does it even matter? Well, let me start with why it matters so that all of your parts can have an opportunity to shift and relax and get curious. We have multiple parts inside of us. Now, don't worry, I'm not advocating that we all have multiple personality disorder. You don't need to call me Sybil or Eve. I just mean that human consciousness is likely more like what Walt Whitman called, we contain multitudes. Dr. James Fadiman, author of Your Symphony of Selves and the Psychedelic Explorer's Guide, yes, I have in fact read and applied both in my research. Anyway, Dr. Fadiman writes, it's quite striking. We have a culture-wide adherence to an assumed unity of consciousness that rarely, if ever, exists, and a corresponding denial of what many of us already know to be the way things actually are. Now, let me read that quote again in case you have a distracted part that shows up when a preacher starts quoting from a book. Let me try again. We have a culture-wide adherence to an assumed unity of consciousness that rarely, if ever, exists, and a corresponding denial of what many of us already know to be the way things actually are. Now, maybe you have another part inside of you that's saying, well, denying reality feels pretty normal these days, Tamara. So that isn't too hard to believe, given the circumstances. Have you seen Don't Look Up? Right? Right. But seriously, why would our culture, and by this I'm leaping ahead in human history to US culture, why would our US cultural system be so insistent and so invested in a single consciousness, a unified mind? Well, unified mind leads to a society where you can be solely defined by the worst thing you've ever done or the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Because it makes it easier to define who is bad and who is good. When what you are on the outside is the same as what you are on the inside, you are much easier to categorize, to appeal to, and to control. When the culture gets to define you by oversimplifying you into good versus bad binaries, these constructs that don't really exist, but they claim to, black and white, male and female, straight and gay, citizen, immigrant, educated, uneducated, sane and insane, worthy and unworthy, normal, abnormal, you get it, right? I'll take a minute to let you name a few more oversimplifications that I didn't mention if one of your internalized parts needs to get it out there. Is there another one? I heard some, but I couldn't make them out. We did the black and white. Sad and happy. What else? Lazy and energetic. Cis and trans. Yeah, all of those. Exactly, conservative and liberal. But see, what this does is it needs you needing some kind of external redeemer. It signs you up for a systemic relationship with good and evil and in a victim-oppressor paradigm. And when you monetize or determine value based on that body or actions being taken by that body that they've deemed good or bad, you've just entered the capitalist carceral state. Sorry, you can laugh. It's real. We're all in it. where I can sell you the fix for your problem that you didn't even know you had. Age, weight, body shape, etc., or the ones that you do know you have, loneliness, disconnection, sadness, etc. Or where sometimes you are worth more if you are defined as sick, unhealthy, criminal, or incarcerated or institutionalized. Now that was a lot for all of us, so everybody take a breath and let your part know that's naming me Debbie Downer, that I will bring us right back around to some kind of hope shortly after the truth has been fully viewed and vetted. Now, I'm going to slip into the Bible for a minute, so if you have a religiously traumatized part, just hang tight. I'll come back and explain what I mean in a minute. Neither is there Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for all of you are in Christ Jesus, says Romans. Y'all know the verse? Somebody nod. Okay. Some of you do. We're all one in Christ Jesus, right? But that doesn't mean that we only have one part. Paul was actually emphasizing in his letter to the Galatians that we have parts and we have a Christ mind, a part connected to the eternal inside of us, an advocate, a redeemer, a physician inside, a calm, clear, compassionate, connected part that rejects all of these binaries, a leader on the inside, connected to the eternal. We have a guide on the inside. Heaven is on the inside, and it's not bound by the oversimplifications of the empire or the carceral state. But what got us here, and by here, I mean to this time and space and place, 21st century United States, Oklahoma, where we have to legislate certain human beings' rights in this country, where we have inequity, people who do not have the same access to safety and dignity and belonging. What got us here required a lot of resilience and a lot of hope and a lot of grit and innovation. And it also required dehumanization, genocide, and subjugation. And what got us here will not carry us into the next phase of the great American democratic experiment. Okay. Whew. Now I need to breathe because I have a part that's reminding me that what I'm saying is in fact dangerous. And another part of that is proud of me for saying it out loud. And another part of me who is so grateful to be invited to this church where we have a free pulpit and a free pew, where discourse and difference is supported. And another part who wants me to run for office, and another part that thinks that is absolutely the worst idea I've ever thought of if I'd like to survive in the current political climate, and another part who thinks that my system needs to get super clear that my values of the inherent worth and dignity of every single person are worth fighting for, and then my core self, that guide on the inside, my authentic self, my leader self, some might say, my eternal self. This witness without an agenda, the one not bound by time, gathers all these little worried parts in a circle in my heart and in my mind, and listens to them all compassionately as they run through their fears, their needs, their concerns, and their pride, listening to them one by one, and finally says, yes, I totally get all that. But we are also nonviolent in speech and in action. We can be courageous and calm and creative in our solution seeking. We will be clear and confident and courageous in whatever the next step for us will be. We will know when it is right to act and how, if we are willing to stay connected to each other and to a diverse external community, seeking out the stranger and those estranged by this culture's values. You see, wisdom is knowing what time it is, knowing your position in relationship to all your parts and to the community. And liberation, my friends, begins in the mind. At RJIOK, the organization that I founded that was already mentioned by Randy, our mission is to end the inequitable and retributive culture of our state. We interrupt the cycle of violence by helping folks to know that they are not the worst thing they've ever done or the worst thing that's ever happened to them. And we teach this multiplicity of mind concept to the community and to organizations. Now, maybe you were here for my homily on Heritage Sunday in March when I debunked the myth of the rugged individualism and reminded us of our connections in time and space genetically to 10 generations behind us and thousands who are alive today, an undeniable interconnected web of humanity. But we are not only bound to those whose DNA we share. We are also bound to our Creator, I would argue. Y'all know that I'm a universalist, right? And by that I mean that there are many paths to the same God. And even though I'm a follower of Jesus and the Buddha, I believe we are all worthy of redemption. And at my very core, I believe that the Bible is too important to be taken literally, too culturally relevant in the United States, especially in Oklahoma, to be ignored. And at the very least, as I have said time and time and time again, the Bible is psychologically true. And that statement has unfolded over my lifetime in such profound ways that I'm learning new all the time, every time I open the book. Now, I actually have a part who's pretty nervous about this next bit because Paul is not often preached in Unitarian Universalist churches, right, David? We barely touched on it in UU Seminary, and if you haven't picked up a Jefferson Bible recently, I would suggest it. It will explain a lot about our culture. But let me read this bit of Romans chapter 7 to you because the Bible has many parts and is quite complex and cannot be oversimplified either, right? So y'all can get out your Bible app, no shame. Romans chapter 7, verse 15 reads, I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate to do, I do. And if I do what I do not want to do, I agree that the law is good. As it is no longer I myself who do it, but it is sin, parentheses, Tamara. Sin, remember, is missing the mark, and I would argue it also means being separate from. So as it is no longer I myself who do it, but it is sin living in me. For I know that good itself does not dwell in me, that is, in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I keep on doing. Now, if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who does it, but it is sin living in me that does it. Now, this is a whole lot of words trying to explain human nature and consciousness written in about 56 AD. But let me tell you what I think he's saying. Sometimes I do things and I don't know why I do them, and I hate that. So I am made up of many parts. The part that did the thing I didn't want to do, the part that wanted to do something else entirely, and the part who was wondering why I didn't do the thing that I wanted to do. If the law makes me stick to the things that I want to do, then that's not bad, right? Rules inherently aren't bad, but there's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. But my capital I, core self connected to God, does not in fact sin. It, on the other hand, is perfect, flawless, connected to spirit, creative, courageous, calm, clear. It is a part of me that sins. Remember, sin is being separate from. It is a part of me that sins living in me and does not need to be held accountable for the harm that it has caused, and it does need to be held accountable for the harm that it caused in this world. Of course it does. But I have a nature that includes being connected and at times feeling separate from God and humanity. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I keep on doing. So now if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who does it, but it is sin apart, living in me, that does it. It is not who I am at my core that feels separate from God. It is a part of me, Likely a part of me shaped and formed by this world, who has been hurt, who is scared, who is greedy or egotistical, or has experienced insecurity or scarcity. But all of those parts are trying to help me, help my system survive. They aren't bad. They know not what they do. They are out of time. And wisdom is knowing what time it is. And they need a leader, someone on the inside. Are you with me? Some might call it Christ mind. So we're bound to our DNA and to our humanity and to our Creator. And I would also argue that we're bound to the destinies of those to whom we have caused harm. If we are not set free by the truth of what we have done and why we did those things, we are bound to them. So what happens when wounds and harms go unaddressed in families and communities? They become secrets, unspoken beliefs about ourselves and about the world that fester in the silence and can turn into shame. And what happens when we hold generations of secrets and shame? It limits our experience of the world and our choices about how we see ourselves and others, so that we can, in some way, convince ourselves that we are, in fact, one of the good ones. But we have a choice. We have a choice to act not out of our woundedness, but out of our redeemed and healed and connected self. But it takes an awareness of when we were in that core connected spirit-led self and when we're in our parts. Y'all got me? Okay. The very first time I sat down with my incredible Rhema-trained wife, Bonnie, I asked her, how do you know when you're acting from spirit or with spirit and when you're acting out of your ego or self-serving part? My religiously traumatized parts were screaming on the inside. So much harm has been caused by people claiming that they are speaking for God. But it's still a good question. But my understanding of the problem has shifted a bit. We aren't called to speak for God. We are called to witness to our broken parts from the love of God. We are called to have the perspective of God for ourselves and others, where we care about the one lost sheep, where we welcome the stranger, where we look out for the return of the prodigal son with anticipation, where we dine with those who are different than us, where we demonstrate love and compassion and courage and clarity and calm and do not push our own agenda, but also do not leave ourselves out of the equation. And what got us here? An unconscious commitment to remain in the cycle of violence and shame culture will not get us to the next successful phase of this country. And unless we stop rebelling, unless we deny this victim-oppressor construct and embrace our own and others' complexity, and resist the idea that we need to define other people's reality for them, we are in fact doomed to repeat history, stuck in a cycle of letting our defensive, wounded, shamed parts overcorrect or lead. Unless we can shift our perspective to address the needs behind the wounds behind the hatred, we will perpetuate the very same system. Our revolution, not our rebellion, our revolution, or at least one that I would defend, is one of radical, inclusive love. One that sees behind the hatred to the pain and fear and refuses to oversimplify to the binary. One that recognizes when we're speaking from our fearful or angry parts instead of for them or witnessing to them. Let me give you an example. I understand why this complexity is scary. I know that expanding the understanding of the world you've always known with things like male and female bathrooms, for example, is becoming so vastly more complex. And I know that you likely have an ungendered bathroom that you use in your home without problems. I get that the basic facts that you have built your life around are feeling threatened. and that it feels as though your foundation is crumbling all around you. You don't want to believe that. And you're so scared that you will try to make rules, lots and lots of rules, to try to keep that from happening. But this is not going to work. And it's harmful to so many people that you also represent. This morning, I want to offer you an opportunity to engage with your system consciously, perhaps in a new way, with a very short meditation to help you relate to your own system a little bit differently. So if I've spoken to enough of your parts that you feel willing, I'd like you to take a moment and close your eyes. It's not necessary, but it can help you go inside. And I want you to imagine someone who really gets you riled up. Someone who gets your goat, makes you angry, makes you do things that you say, I do not know why I do that. Maybe even makes you say or do things that ordinarily you wouldn't say or do. And get that image of that person in your mind. Likely it's someone who believes differently than you do about something that really matters to you. And now I want you to imagine that person in a room with a window. Now, this room is completely and totally secure, and I promise we're not going to go in that room. So you can tell your system that you're completely safe. I want you to imagine yourself on the outside looking in. Now, this room is contained. You can see them, but they can't see you, and they can't get out. And as you watch them from the outside, have them say or do something that activates you or triggers you. And just notice what happens in your body and your mind as these protective parts of you come forward. Notice your breathing, your muscles, where you might be contracting or holding, how open or closed your heart is now. And just notice how this person looks to you in this state. Get a good felt sense of the impact of this protective part in you that leaps to your defense with this person. Get a sense of the impact on your body and on your mind. And then tell this protector part that you're not going to go into that room in this exercise, so it's safe for that protector part to just stand down and relax a little bit. And even invite this protector part to pull its energy out of you, away from you just a little bit, so that you can get curious about it and get to know it a little bit better. And if it's willing, you might notice a kind of shift inside your body as it does so. And it may not be willing, and that's okay. It can stay. Let it know that you're just curious about it. But if it did relax some and you can notice that shift, pay attention to your body right now that that protector is not up as much. Your muscles, your breathing. How open is your heart now? And now let your whole system know that you are safe, that you matter, that you belong, that you're strong, that you're resilient, that you're enough, that you have resources, and that you are loved. And now imagine offering this person in the room and that part of you that is trying to protect you from that person your compassion, bathing you and them in that compassion. And now that you're holding on to those feelings of being safe and mattering, of belonging and love, take another look at that person in the room through the window and see if they look any different. And how do you feel toward them now? And then if your protector part has loosened up some in your mind's eye, turn toward that part of you that was protecting you from this person through the window and offer it some appreciation for trying to keep you safe. And let it know that you get it. You get why it's trying to protect you in those moments. Having some compassion for that part and just see if you can get curious about that part of you. And maybe ask that part why it jumps up so big with this person and what it wants you to know about that. Now, this might be a bit foreign to many of you because we're asking your thinking part to step aside and just let our imagination, our unconscious, our spirit lead. My tongue-talking friends might find this familiar territory. Don't try to force an answer or work hard, just allow it to emerge. Remember, no agenda, calm and clear. And if this exercise evokes a part of you that feels that this is impossible or hokey or something else, just greet all those parts too and thank them for showing up. They're also parts trying to protect you, trying to keep you safe. And they don't know that you already are. And maybe ask this protector part what it's afraid would happen if it didn't protect you in this way with this particular person. And if it answered that question, see if you can offer it some appreciation for trying to protect you. And now ask this part that is protecting you from this person in the room what it would take for this part to trust your spirit-connected self, that calm, connected, creative, authentic self to handle this person, employing all of your skills and experience and tools. What would it need to let you remain in the driver's seat and handle this person so that it wouldn't have to? And last question, and it might seem a bit strange, but ask this protector part what job it would rather have in your system than defending you against this person or people like them. And again, wait for an answer. And now thank this protector for all that it let you know if it did, and for your whole system, and you can begin to shift back into the present and hear the sounds in the room, rustling of papers, breathing. Wiggle your fingers and toes, and when you're ready, open your eyes. And there is absolutely no shame if this did not work for you. Some systems need to be guided in private to be able to do this work, and that's okay too. But I hope that it offered you some insight. And I invite you to keep honoring and respecting all of your parts. And if you want to work with them with a coach or a therapist, I can certainly recommend some folks for you. I'm particularly fond of the Internal Family Systems Institute, where I'm being trained. They have hundreds of coaches and therapists that can work with you. Or you can also just start with a book, Dick Schwartz's book, No Bad Parts. But all of my parts and my spirit have been delighted to be able to be with you this morning, to be able to share this message and my music. And I want to share one last song with you. This song was written based on Psalm 2. It's about taking that higher perspective and being able also to identify with all of our parts. It also suggests that we have parts that experience the world psychologically like Jesus did. I hope this song offers you and your system some hope as you face the upcoming week. It is written like a hymn, and so each verse is sung twice, and the second time through, I would love for you to join your voices with ours if that feels comfortable to you. Thank you, and amen. You are my refuge. You are my strength. When I am confused, when I have strayed, you are my refuge. You are my strength. When I am confused, when I have strayed,
So take me up your holy mountain, past the place where kings have stood. Just when I believe I'm broken, your word reminds me I am good. I was born holy, I've been betrayed, I've died to old ways, and I've been raised. I was born holy, I've been betrayed, I've died to old ways, and I've been raised. So take me up your holy mountain, past the place where kings have stood. Just when I believe I'm broken, your love reminds me I am good. I am yours. I am your beloved. Sing that with me. I am yours. I am your beloved. So take me up your holy mountain, place me on your mercy seat. Just when I believe I'm broken, your joy and laughter cover me. Try that one with me. Take me up your holy mountain, place me on your mercy seat. Just when I believe I'm broken, your joy and laughter cover me. I am yours. I am your beloved. Sing that with me, just the voices. I am yours. I am your beloved. Just when I believe I'm broken, your joy and laughter cover me.
What an incredible message today. Thank you, Red. Thank you. Every Sunday, All Souls gives away our offering to a local organization doing the work of love beyond belief in our communities. This week's offering goes to Tulsa Metropolitan Ministry. TMM is a multi-faith organization serving the greater Tulsa metropolitan community since 1937. And from its beginning, it's been a key player in helping start some of Tulsa's most far-reaching and successful programs, and organizations continuing a quest to bring Tulsa together to better serve our entire community. But first, we do have some important announcements. August is going to be a really exciting and busy month, the culmination of our Summer of Peace, and a way to further your path and connection as an All Souls member. So first, mark your calendar for next Sunday, August 7th, a very special service, our Gratitude Sunday, our volunteer appreciation for all of our incredible member leaders, volunteers in our midst whose hard work and dedication has kept this church going through the pandemic and tough times. We love you, we are in awe of you, and we want to celebrate you with some special music, some special gifts, a powerful message from Reverend Barbara, and the return of our senior minister, Marlon Lavinar. So don't miss next week, it'll be so special. And then after that, we have Joining on August 14th at 1 p.m. with Reverend Barbara and Nefertiti Sanders if you want to become a member of All Souls. And then the 7th, 14th, and 21st at 11:30, you can do Foundations of Unitarian Universalism, a class where Randy, myself, and Reverend Barbara will be walking through the history of UU and of All Souls. And then at August 28th, if you're interested in small group ministry, connecting with some of your other All Souls members, we will have our Wellspring orientation that if you have any questions about, email me at clevel@allsoulschurch.org or go to our website. We now gratefully accept your offering.
Chalice lighting. Now, those in the room didn't get to see it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask Justin and Greg to load up the chalice lighting so we get to see that. Before we extinguish it, you'll get the chance to actually see it. Catherine did a very important part, and we really appreciate her doing that. So Justin and Greg, load it up, please.
May this flame spark the heart light that illuminates our faith and a brighter future. May we never be reduced to our worst day or our worst choice. May we be ever aware of the grace that our divine nature is capable of and bestow it upon ourselves and our fellows. May kindness and mercy follow us all of our days.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you to those who've joined us online. Your presence makes all the difference. Please stay online for the after-sermon Zoom conversation with Reverend Barbara Prose. And for those of you who are in person, please meet us in the coffee in the Alliance Room immediately after the service. And visit our book table for the latest good reads. And if you enjoyed the wonderful music today from our own Reverend Tamara LeBach, you can also purchase one of her CDs. I already have one right here on the book table as well. So as Reverend LeBach comes forward to give the benediction, let us extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the flame of love that forever burns in our heart.
Go in peace. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born to you of gratitude and of hope. May you use those gifts that you've received and pass on the love that's been given to you. May you be contented knowing that you indeed are a child of God. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing and dance and praise and love. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.